Okay, so my presentation is on the Bosnian, I would say the Bosnian genocide, but also like the Balkan Wars and the breakup of Yugoslavia. And it's based on long-standing, like century-long tension between a bunch of groups that were present in like Yugoslavian territory. So the important groups in this particular study would be the Bosniaks, which are like Bosnians who are also Muslims. So they've basically they were Turkish Christians, if I can recall correctly, and then they're descendants of Turkish Christians, and then they basically Muslimized. They became they became interested in Islam instead, and so that's like a major breaking point between the Bosniaks and the other two groups, which are the Roman Catholic Croatians and the Orthodox Christian Serbians. And all of these groups, they were present in Yugoslavian society when it was, like the communist nation run by Tito. Um, and then as Tito died, the power that he had, all the power in Yugoslavia was concentrated in Joseph Tito. And then when he died in 1980, it was split up between 8 people. And from then on, there was less control over the population, which eventually transformed into gradual but steep economic decline in Yugoslavia as a whole, which then provided like opportunity and willingness for those marginalized populations to break out and try and claim territory and decide like, hey, I don't want to be communist. I don't want to be a communist nation anymore. I want to be Croatia. I want to be Slovenia. I want to be Kosovo, Serbia, Macedonia, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Um, so in 1992, essentially, after the Soviet Union broke down, Bosnia and Herzegovina, they did an independence referendum. And from then on, that was kind of like, we've declared war. Not like Bosnia as a, but like Bosnia was breaking from Yugoslavia, and Serbians didn't like that because Serbia, like the Serbian territory, Serbian nation, Serbian polities, they wanted to keep Yugoslavia together, but and either keep the name Yugoslavia or change it to like Serbia. I'm pretty sure. So that was like that was the start of hostilities, which you probably know. So war. Um, there was I'm reading off my computer. Sorry, there are around 96,000 confirmed deaths. And that's from the Bosnian Book of the Dead. And so then 8,000 of those are independently connected to the Srebrenica massacre that occurred when Dutch peacekeepers were. I can't remember if they decided to leave as a UN resolution or if they were kicked out by Arkan's Tigers, but they did leave this designated safe zone area, and to which Serbian forces came in and for a couple of days just kind of like, sorry, I did not mean to do the hand signals, but they came in for a couple of days and just kind of killed all the Bosniaks. So that's like that exemplifies the fact that this whole entire reconciliation process is focused over ethnic, ethno-religious divisions. Not just ethnic, not just religious, like mixed together because the ethnicities are so tied to the religions. Because Serbians are Orthodox Christians, because Croatians are Roman Catholics, because Bosniaks are Bosnian Muslims. Their race is directly, directly connected to their religion, and that's really the dividing force between the populations. So, give me 2 seconds. So I'm probably going to impose right now, like I'm going to edit this video a little bit, and I'm going to impose a little table, which is going to show, let me find the table. It basically shows population sizes. And so what's caused the divisions in society also, aside from the ethno-religious divisions, is the fact that for most of Yugoslavia's like existence, the Serbian population was the majority. There was 70% Everyone else, the Bosniaks, the Croats, and the Roma, they all occupied the 30%, and then gradually, all the other populations shot up, and the Serbians stayed the same. But what was happening was because Serbians had 70% of the population, they also occupied around 70%, probably more than 70% of the government. And so then that fosters a bunch of hatred among the other minority groups who never really had a chance to even do anything regarding like laws and legislation and shaping the country. So then, the Serbian group, their proportionality dwindled, and they still held not every single, but they still held a lot of positions in government, which caused a lot of, well, among the Bosniaks and the Croatians, that caused a lot of like hatred, vitriol, and just jealousy, I suppose. But for the Serbians, what was happening is like they were watching their ethnic group dwindle. They were watching what they knew as Yugoslavia disappear. So that created a lot of fear for the position in society because they had always been so high. They were very fearful that they were going to lose it. And so they decided to like, fight the Bosniaks. Give me a second. Okay, so essentially, war breaks out, and Serbian politicians who like held power at the time, I think it was Mladic or Milosevic. However, they started not hiring, they started pardoning. Let me fix this. Pardoning like actual criminals, particularly this one guy named Arkin. And I'm very sorry, I don't know Arkin's real name. However, Arkin was then promoted to a position of power, and he formed a Serbian nationalist militia, in a sense, that teamed up with the Yugoslavian army, which was full of Serbians. So essentially, there were like two Serbian forces, Arkin's Tigers, Yugoslavian army, joined together, invaded Bosnia. There was obviously other like wars going on at the time. There was a war in Croatia, there was a war in Serbia. It was all of Yugoslavia. However, Arkin's Tigers and the Yugoslavian army, they were in there, and they were the ones committing. Well, they're the ones who are responsible for the atrocity of the 8,000 deaths of Bosniaks, according to the International Crime Tribunal of Yugoslavia, ICTY. So, a lot of people die. And then, give me a second, I really apologize for this. All right, so eventually, we're just going to skip over the war. You don't need to know about the war. This is a reconciliation presentation. Essentially, the war ended with the Dayton Accords in 1996, I want to say. Might be 97. The war ends in 95, 96. So, and essentially what happened with the Dayton Peace Accords was that it ended the war, yes, but it just kind of ended the war. It didn't declare any winners. It didn't settle any of the problems that led to the war. It essentially laid out Bosnian territory and then set up the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, as well as Republika Srpska. And so those are the two provinces, I suppose is the best way to state that, of the country. And Republika Srpska, that is 95% Serbian. And then Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, that is full of Serbians, Croatians, not Serbians, sorry. Well, there's like a very small Serbian population in the non-Serbian district, but it's mostly full of Bosniaks, Croatians, and Roma.